everyone, welcome to Umoyo Life. Hope you're having a fabulous day. Big shout out to everyone in Zambia. Hope you're coping with the October heat. I'm sitting in my garden today. You can see it's a bit dry, but I'm sure the rains will come soon. Anyway, so today I thought I would address a question that I get asked quite a lot, and that is why I've chosen not to eat meat. And this is a personal issue, you know. I don't expect anyone to change their eating habits. You know, what is good for one person might not be right for the other person, and we're all in different stages of our journeys, you know. So I always say whatever feels right for you, that's what you should do. But like I said, a lot of people ask me why I've chosen not to eat meat, so I thought I'd address that today. There are lots of biological and anatomical reasons why I believe humans aren't meant to eat meat. So for instance, if we look at our teeth are not very sharp, right? And they're quite flat. Our molars are flat for grinding. We're able to move our jaws from side to side so that we can grind our food. And that's common in all herbivores, so animals that eat plant foods. But when we look at carnivores, we find that their teeth are often very long, sharp, and that's so that they can rip the flesh off the bone. And also with a lot of carnivores, you find that they can just move their jaws up and down, like if you think of a crocodile, so that they can rip the food. They don't actually have to grind the food. Another difference between herbivores and carnivores that we find in the wild is that herbivores have digestive enzymes in their saliva, just like we humans do. We have amylase for digesting carbohydrate, whereas you don't find that in carnivores. They don't have digestive enzymes in their saliva. Another thing that you find difference is herbivores have very long digestive tracts. So usually 10 to 12 times the length of the body, right? The length of the body. Whereas carnivores, their digestive tracts are much, much shorter, 3 to 6 times the length of the body. And once again, humans, we fit into the herbivore category. Our intestines are very long. And the reason the carnivores have very short intestines is because the meat has to move through very quickly. If it doesn't, it starts to putrefy. Also, we find in carnivores, the acidity in their stomach is very, very high, usually pH 1. Whereas in herbivores, and if we look at us humans, our pH in our stomach is much weaker, so usually 4 to 5. So the higher the number, the less acidic, okay? So the carnivores, they need that strong acidity in the stomach so that they can quickly digest the meat so that it doesn't start to putrefy. So those are just a few reasons on an anatomical level why perhaps us humans aren't so suited to eat meat. Then of course they've done tons of studies where they've shown that the people who live the longest generally eat a lot of fruit and veg, right? And vegetarians tend to have less lifestyle illnesses, so lower rates of things like heart disease and so on. But even if you don't subscribe to any of that, the number one reason why I don't eat meat has actually nothing to do with the anatomy or biology or any of that. It's a more emotional connection, and I'll explain that. So when I studied nutrition at university, Nutritional Medicine, a degree, we were taught very much to break everything down. So seeing everything as very physical. So your food will have macronutrients, your protein, carbohydrates, fats, and then your micronutrients, so vitamins, minerals, trace minerals, antioxidants, and so on. So very physical, right? And then you would study, what does this vitamin do for your health? Or what does this mineral do in your body, right? But actually, really the way we need to look at it, or at least include in that model, is looking at food energetically, because everything's energy, right? Quantum physics has shown this. We know this. Absolutely everything is energy. your energy, this beautiful bench here, it's just energy vibrating. The reason we see it as something very solid is, of course, because it's vibrating at low frequency. It's the same with our food, but when we look at our food, we often forget the energy part of it. The quality, not just of the physical, the vitamins and the minerals and the antioxidants of the food, but what kind of energy does the food have? And how does that energy then affect your body? So one thing that I find fascinating is when you look at food where they've taken Kirlian photography. I don't know if you've heard of that, but they can basically see the energy emanating out of whatever it is you're photographing, right? So with food, whether it's broccoli or tomato, these beautiful Kirlian photographs, you see the energy. And then if you take the same vegetable or whatever it is and you cook it, then that energy, either if it doesn't disappear, at least becomes much, much smaller, right? So you can see the difference. Absolutely incredible. And that's one of the reasons, I should say, that why I try to incorporate a lot of uncooked raw vegetables into my diet, because I want that beautiful energy to also come into my body and become part of me, right? But if we start looking at meat, what they've shown is that, when animals are about to be slaughtered, they know what's about to happen. They feel immense fear, anxiety, and all those stress hormones go out into the meat, right? So of course, when you eat the meat, all that fear, all that anxiety, that energy is there and you're consuming it. So I choose that I don't want that fear. I don't want that anxiety in my body. I don't want that type of energy in my body, and hence I choose not to eat meat. And this is a philosophy that I think is more accepted and followed in the East. Certainly I know in the yogic tradition, that's one of the reasons why they choose not to eat meat. But like I said, in the West, we've been a bit more focused on the structure of things and what it contains rather than the energy of the food. So for me, my challenge to you today is to maybe just have a little think about this and consider the energy of the food that you're eating. It's also the energy of the person who perhaps prepared the food, or who in the supermarket, the energy of the people who packed it and put it on the shelf. That all affects the food, right? So when you prepare your meal in the evening, make sure that you bless the food. And before you eat it, of course, do a little prayer, a little blessing of the food. It dramatically changes the energy of the food and enhances it so that it can also enhance you. Have a blessed day, guys. All the best. Bye.